Hello and welcome to the Will to Win podcast. This is Alex Muir, helping millennial professionals reach peak mental and physical performance. And in today's episode of our special guest series, we have country singer Kylie Trout. Kylie Trout is only 17 years old. She just came out with her latest single, You and I, and this was on the Radio Disney Country station within its first week of launching. And then she also is from Southern California. She's part of the Gen Z, and then her previous single, Can't Remember Growing Up, has 100K plus streams on Spotify. And please welcome Kylie Trout. And this episode is brought to you by RadioGuestList.com, the #1 free radio guest, podcast, and talk show guest expert interview booking service on the internet. Hi everyone, and welcome again. This is Alex Muir, helping millennial professionals reach peak mental and physical performance. And this is the Will to Win podcast. And in today's episode, we have our special guest, Kylie Trout. Kylie just came out with her latest single mid-February called You and I. She's a country singer. And this single was playing within its first week on Radio Disney Country. And her previous single, Can't Remember Growing Up, also has 100,000 streams on Spotify and other platforms as well. And then her latest single, You and I, also has 85,000 streams on Spotify. So Kylie, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I'm really happy to have you on, and congratulations again on your latest single, You and I. Very cool. And I had to listen to it actually before our interview started. Very cool. You got a very interesting voice, and
thank you.
And I can see why you're getting the older generation as well into your music, because you've just got a very unique voice. And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 17. I just turned 17 in February. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was not by the sound of the voice. Like you've got that really unique voice. So you sound a lot more older than you are. So
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's really cool. And I always like to start off the podcast with, I always like to ask my guests kind of what does a day in the life look like for Kylie Trout? Like what is I know you're probably really busy right now. Either booking tours or opening shows. Like what's kind of the day in life look like for you?
Yeah, so like as of right now, we're in this weird situation where like we're in quarantine. Yeah. This whole thing, coronavirus, it's weird, but we're hanging on. So it sucks because a lot of my shows got canceled or postponed. So right now it's just been, waking up around 10. I get to sleep in a little bit, which has been real nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, lots of interviews, lots of things going on behind the scenes, Yeah. So yeah, it's basically lots of writing, just honing in on my craft, taking that time right now to do so. So yeah, that's pretty much it right now.
Right on. Sounds like an awesome day in the life.
Yeah.
And what made you want to sing country music?
Yeah, so I grew up with my grandparents for the first 8 years of my life, and they were the ones who first introduced me to country music. And since then, it's my roots, It's what I grew up on. So just fell in love with it, and it's stuck with me ever since.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Really cool. And what kind of platforms right now, especially with everything going on, I noticed a lot of artists are doing kind of virtual tours where they're going on Facebook, they're doing a Facebook Live, or they're going on other music platforms, maybe SoundCloud, Spotify. They have all these different things where artists are able to go on and they're actually able to do like a kind of a live performance, but virtually kind of in their own home to all their fans. So I know you're on Spotify right now, and then you got the Radio Disney. What other kind of platforms do you have your music on?
Yeah, so right now, it's just about radio promotion and all that. I'm actually, You and I has gotten on quite a few radio stations, so I'm super pumped with that, and it's still growing. And I got another single on the way coming out next month. Wow. So really looking forward to that. Yeah. But yeah, the whole live show thing, it's been super cool because, these shows the actual live shows in person have been taken away, and we can't really get that back right now, but we're making the best of it. And I've been doing Facebook lives, Instagram lives, and it's been really cool to see other artists do the same thing. And and it's free, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not that in person spirit experience, but it's the closest you can get. So it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
And do you find people are really coming together to, especially for musicians and stuff like that, like the guests,
Oh yeah, 100%.
because everyone's, a lot of people are, haven't been able to see their families for a while, or a lot of people are at home, they're self-quarantined. And I mean, all they have time for is they just want to listen to music. They just want to play video games. They just want
Right?
to, right? Lots of
Yeah,
entertainment time right now. So
for
it's
sure.
it's a great time for, it's not the best time. No, I can't say that. It's not the best time for artists
Yeah,
because they can't go on actual tours,
right.
but it's still a great time, to still get that exposure if you have a new song or you're an up and coming
For
artist,
sure.
because you can still, make those kind of connections virtually from a distance for your fans.
For sure. And like you said, everybody's online right now, so it's actually a really good time for that,
Yeah, yeah,
the
for
social
sure.
media part, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And then, who is your
Mhm.
greatest inspiration? Who really inspired you? I know you mentioned your grandparents, but was there also any other, maybe specific musician or a specific person that
Mhm.
really resonated with you?
For sure. Yeah, my family, my grandparents, my dad, for sure. He's my number one supporter, and I look up to him the most out of anybody. And for musicians, I've always looked up to Carrie Underwood. She's just a powerhouse, and she just keeps things so classy too. It's just all around. I look up to her like for everything, honestly, since I was little. And also Kelly Pickler. I looked up to her a lot growing up, especially because we have very similar like backstories. Um, my biological mom wasn't in my life when I was little, and neither was hers, and that kind of like really brought me to want to songwrite and want to sing, and it reminded me that like I'm not alone in situations. So yeah, they were really big inspirations for me.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
And then, what was one of the greatest obstacles that you had to overcome to become an artist?
I feel like as an artist, as a person in general, I feel like there's always new obstacles coming all the time, and you just got to find your way around them. For me, I would say, like, emotionally, the biggest obstacle was probably my biological mother situation, but that actually turned out to be a good thing because I put all that and my hurt into a song, and that helped a lot of people. So, as long as you can help people at the end of the day, at least for me, that's my big thing. That's always my goal. And also, right now, my age is is a big obstacle. Sometimes,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
say, you're 17, like, what do you know? And I'm like, well, actually, you know,
yeah, yeah.
um, I had to like mature pretty fast growing up. So, I would say I'm not the average 17-year-old, but at the same time, you know, we never stop learning and growing. So,
No,
yeah,
no,
I would say
that's totally right.
that. Yeah.
And
So, yeah.
then, what phrase or statement do you live by?
This too shall pass for
Ah,
sure. It's always been my thing.
yeah. And then my dad always says to myself and my sister, he would always say, everything in life is temporary, good or bad.
Yep.
Whatever you're going through, if you think you're riding a wave of success, it's going to change. There's going to be other obstacles you're going to have to encounter, and then
Mm-hmm.
if you feel like you've been
100%.
down in the dumps for a bit, that's also going to change, and your next wave is right around the corner. So no,
For sure.
that's really good.
They
Yeah.
say they say life is like a roller coaster, and it sounds so like dumb and cheesy, but it's so true, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Full of ups and downs.
No, definitely. And then what other
Hmm.
questions I have for you? And then your writing. Have you always been into like to write?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess yeah, it's like always been kind of that like in the back of my mind, like when I was little. I remember like the first song I ever wrote, my uncle, he made like a beat on GarageBand, and like I was how old was I? I was probably like 6 to 8. I don't know. I was really young. and like I made a song about my animals, like my dogs and my cats and stuff. It was like so bad, but like I was so proud of it back then, and like I was like, you know what, I can rhyme, I can do this whole like songwriting thing. So then I guess from there it just kind of grew, and now it's just I do it so often, it's turned into such a passion. And yeah, just getting stories out there. And I think songs are so much easier to write and felt more when you actually go through those experiences personally. So yeah, I think it's really cool, you know, because with every story, people can always relate to it. And that's what I love about music, because it's just this common ground that everybody can, you know, come together with. Because everybody
No.
listens to music, no
Oh
matter
no,
what
for sure.
genre, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely can agree with you on that one. Like how music it unites people,
Mm-hmm.
and through their through their musicians' experiences, collection of experiences, right? Especially when their song is talking about something that they've been through, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very impactful.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah, and it's either about an experience that you've gone through or a feeling
Mm-hmm.
that you've either felt in the past or you currently feel.
Right, for
Um,
sure. And it's all like you can take one song and you can look at it 1,000 different ways. So I think that's the other beauty of music is like honestly, it's endless. Like the meaning, you know?
yeah, and you kind of talked about it a little bit about your kind of your process to writing out your songs, but
Mm-hmm.
is it more the habitual daily writing and just kind of going about your day, and then the thoughts come to you when you're having a shower or on a walk with your parent with your dad and your grandparents, or is there something else that it kind of is the catalyst for being able to get that song out?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because like I'll wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll just have like a line in my head and I'm like, oh my God, that's good. Where's my phone? Like record a voice
Ah,
memo real quick. Or like you said, like those shower thoughts. I feel like a lot of people get that, and I get that for sure. It's just honestly like random times of the day. There's no rhyme or reason for it. I've been like on the road and listening to people talk on the radio and they say like a quote or something and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna use that in a song. And I just like
ah.
write it down. So yeah, honestly it's always different.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, so it's very yeah, very random. Yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then what um what's some other things that maybe some random facts that people don't know about you?
Honestly, whenever I get asked this, I feel like such a boring person. Like literally my whole life just really revolves um, around music, you know. And but outside of music, my family for sure. I'm super close with my family. My dad, my stepmom. I have two younger sisters, and my grandparents, of course. We're all very tight knit. I love them. I would do anything for them, and vice versa. And so it's really cool to have that support. But yeah, and other than that, I guess like hobbies, I like, I've always been like into art. So like I like painting and like drawing and all that stuff. But honestly, I would say that's about it.
Yeah, that's really cool. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's usually how it goes. Like people
Mhm.
that are very creative, they usually have, some people have like, tons of hobbies, like a million different things, and some people are very laser focused and
Right.
they just have a few, but they master those few, right?
Right.
They stay in the realm of creativity, or they stay in the realm of athletics,
For
or
sure.
so that's why I find so intriguing about everyone's routines. It's just so different, but it doesn't matter how your routine is. It's just whatever works for you,
For
right?
sure.
Yeah, and I find, yeah. Do you find when you're like doing your painting, your drawing, does that also help stimulate some sort of musical notes in your head or potential lines?
Um, honestly, I I mean maybe. I think it's more like subconscious because
Right.
I feel like whenever I like draw or paint or like when I write or when I sing or practice, I feel like I'm always in that like mindset. You have to be in a mindset to do certain things. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I'm having like a down day, like then I would say that's when I'll either like do nothing or like I'll go to writing. Or if I'm stressed
Right.
out, then usually I'll be like painting or something. And then like when I'm in a good mood, it's kind of like a mixture where I'm like, you know, painting, listening to music, maybe coming up with things in my head. It's like it all depends on like my different moods, I guess.
Right, right. I really like that. So you really don't force it. You let it come to you.
Yeah.
You let it be natural.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than you're trying to do something and it feels forced.
Right.
I can relate to that because
Yeah.
I tried things and I feel like I tried them because everyone else is doing them,
Right.
but I forced it and it wasn't really me.
Right.
And because my background's actually in sales, and I had my career in I was in banking for 4 years, and I did really like it at the beginning, but then as time went on, it just became more apparent that it just wasn't my right fit.
Right.
And then when I got out of that, then I started doing more creative stuff, because in financial services you can kind of be creative, but you have to be in a really high position to be creative for clients.
Right.
But because I've always been kind of a creative person, and I've always been drawn to, like, marketing and, blogging and that kind of thing. And then as soon as podcasting came around, I'm like, and then I actually just started, like getting interviews for people on my podcast. Would have been only a few weeks ago. And it's just incredible because I was reading this book on internet marketing. It's called Click Millionaires by the author of Scott Fox. And he talked about, like he has a free site where guests can go on, and podcast hosts or radio shows can go on there, and they can either attract guests or shows can attract guests or vice versa. So it's absolutely incredible, and I wouldn't have been able to connect with you or any of my other guests if I didn't find this platform. Right. So it's just so crazy, the world that we live in today. It's like, we may not be face to face, we may not be in the same room or even in the same country, but you can still make those connections in so many different ways today. Writing or podcasting or video chat or Google Hangouts or however you choose to do it. And it's just really incredible that people can still make those connections. You can still build relationships in different ways.
It's crazy to see how far we've come, and then you think you're at the top, and then you like think about where are we going to be in the future? Yeah. Like, where can we possibly go with this? Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. And where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years with your music career?
Yeah. Well, right now it's just all about building everything up and making those connections with people. And so hopefully in the coming years, I'll just be doing what I love and, growing as an artist, growing as, the kind of building more of a fan base and just everything coming together and getting more, So, yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah. And it takes time, and you're so young, and you've got like so much time on the horizon. So it's absolutely incredible that you're already in the position that you're in now. So you've already set the stage for your future. And if you already know this early on what you want to do, that's absolutely incredible, because a lot of people your age don't. Right. And even myself, I'm still, I'm 27 and I'm still learning, and every day I'm learning something new. And, it's a really remarkable thing that you're able to, you just went after your passion, and you knew it right away. And, just got to keep going with it. Right.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. So we've gone over your hobbies and a little bit of your music career and a little bit of your background there. What's some other things I can ask you? Or anything, or you could even reverse it. You can ask some questions for me.
Yeah. Oh man, I suck at asking questions.
Oh yeah, actually, I think I have one.
Okay.
So I know that you're part of Gen Z. Now I believe my sister's part of Gen Z, and I have a few others that are part of Gen Z. I think it's like, I can't remember the dates, but I know I'm a millennial, and millennials are like either 1988 or 89 to
Yeah.
93. Is this like a short,
Right.
5 or 6 years or 6 or 7 years?
Yeah.
And what do you feel? Yeah, I actually got a really good question for you. What do
Yeah.
you feel the main differences are with artists that are Gen Z versus millennial?
I feel like it kind of gets confused sometimes because, like my generation, some people like mistake us for millennials. And I think there's that like stereotype against millennials,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's kind of like, it's kind of whack. So,
Yeah.
like, um,
Here to set the record straight?
yeah. No, like, that is a good question.
Yeah, yeah. Because um, I hear it so many
Mm-hmm.
times, and you probably hear this a lot as well. Like from, they couldn't even, the people might not even be that much older than us. They might be even in their mid 30s or early 40s
Right.
or 50s, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
millennials or Gen Z, they're so. Well, they just say
Yeah.
millennials. They don't even say Gen Z, but of
It's like
course they
Gen
just
Z
bunch
is
us all
not even a
together.
thing.
Yeah,
Like,
no, no, exactly. They don't segregate it. It's like it's all millennials, and they're like, oh, millennials are so lazy and they don't
yeah.
get anything done and they don't want to do anything. And but that would be like us saying, well, baby boomers, right? Baby
Right.
boomers don't do anything, or veterans don't do anything. It's
Right.
like, well, that's not the case. There's a lot of people. There's a very large population of
Oh,
millennials and Gen Z.
yeah.
It's just depending on what their goals are and depending on if they've found their true calling.
Right. And I think a lot of
Um,
that has to do with like technology because like we
it
we grew up
does.
on technology and things are just different now than they used to be. So I think, people have different views and opinions on that.
Yeah, yeah, and I can definitely relate to that with you on that
Mhm.
because I feel one thing I do notice is Gen Z. I really appreciate the Gen Z um, generation because even though like I feel like I have a very pretty good grasp of technology.
Mhm.
Every time I talk to someone in Gen Z, it's like they're like 10 steps ahead. They're it's like, oh, did you know about this? Did you know about
Yeah,
this? And
yeah.
I'm like, what? I didn't know about
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
like my girlfriend, like she's Gen Z,
Mhm.
and like she told me about podcasts, and I had never listened to podcasts before. I'm like, what's a
And look at you
podcast?
now.
And yeah, and then I started listening, and then I'm like, this sounds really interesting. And then the way I got into podcasting was actually I don't know if you've ever heard of David. You probably heard of David Dobrik. He's
Oh
from
yeah, I
California.
love David
Yeah,
Dobrik.
yeah. My
He's
girlfriend loves David
hilarious.
Dobrik. Yeah, he's so funny. And so me and my girlfriend were watching his vlogs, and she listens to his podcast fairly regularly.
Mhm.
And then it was an ad in his podcast for Anchor, the Anchor app that we're on
Oh,
right now.
really?
And as soon as he said that Anchor on the Anchor app, you can record your podcast, you can have people on as guests,
Mhm.
and you can build your episodes all within the app.
Mhm.
I was like, oh my god, I have to try this. I
Yeah,
have to try
for
this
sure.
because I know eventually I'll probably transition to like another platform
Mhm.
or another whatever is going to give me the best sound and the best quality for my guests and whatnot.
Mhm.
But yeah, but like to get started and to like get my message out there
Mhm.
and help people tell their stories. This is a great platform for
For
that,
sure, for sure.
and it's just another way to build connections with people, right? So
Yeah, totally.
yeah, super cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and what would you say is your what would you say is your favorite app that you use? Because I know musicians actually have a lot of awesome apps on either their iPhone or iPad or whatever you
Mhm.
use. What do you feel you use the most anytime you're like, oh my God, I gotta either get this, in audio format or in written down or
Uh-huh.
any apps you utilize for that?
Honestly, I don't really use that many apps for like recording anything.
No, okay.
No, I just use like the good old voice memos.
Oh yeah, voice memos.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But like
And then,
outside of recording, I say like everybody uses like guitar tabs, like Ultimate Guitar. That's like
oh
because I
yeah.
taught myself guitar and I was getting like so frustrated because like guitar's hard when you first learn it. So I started using that and just like I got different apps for like that just show you like basic chords and that really helped. So
Okay.
yeah.
So it like teaches you the different chords within the app
Yeah.
within the app.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
Yep.
And you just are you recording at the studio? You're just your place right now?
The studio. I always
Oh, very
record at the
cool.
studio, yeah.
Nice, nice. So this is probably really close to where you live, and then you just go there and you get all your music in.
Well, actually, no. I like
Mm.
always record out in Nashville. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so it kind of sucks right now because like I have songs in the works, but I can't go record them right now because this whole thing going on.
Oh,
So, I'm just
gotcha.
like itching to get back out there, but it's cool right now because I'm building all my content up. So that when I do get to go back, just make things happen.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So all your recording is in the Nashville studios.
Yes.
Well, because that is the heart of country
Yeah.
music too,
Yeah.
right? So
It's
yeah,
the
that makes
hub.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and any people that you've met there, you might have already mentioned them, but any other singer songwriters that were there when you record or that you've interacted with that you really get along with?
While I record, there's usually not any other singers in there. I work with a producer. His name's Bill McDermott. He's like amazing. Um, but I've written with some people out in Nashville who are super super awesome writers and people. Um, who have I written with? It's so hard to recall names. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I've written with Tom Tippin out there. And who else have I written with? Oh man. Oh my gosh, I sound like such a bad person. I
No,
cannot
no,
think of
it's hard
names.
when we put you right on the spot, right? So
Yes, I'm so
yeah, yeah.
sorry. I cannot think of names right now.
Oh no, no worries. Yeah, but I always like to ask because I know there is definitely how like depending on where where you're at with your songwriting and all that.
Hmm.
Eventually, like I know singer songwriters they collaborate with other
Yeah.
artists, and I always find that always intrigues me because I always like it like when these two superpower
Hmm.
superpower artists they come together and they make like they collaborate and they make like an awesome song together.
Yeah. And
Like the
it's
week,
cool. It's cool to
yeah.
like write in person, but I've also I write a lot like over Skype and FaceTime and
Oh,
stuff. So Jason Hamer, I co-write with him all the time. He's amazing.
oh,
Um,
okay.
so yeah, that's another name.
That's really cool.
Hmm.
You write, you're just like, because you just let it come to you and you write on Skype. And what was the other one?
Skype or FaceTime or even like
FaceTime.
Facebook Messenger. You can do video chats on there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, no, yeah, some awesome, awesome stuff going on for you, and
Hmm.
super duper happy for you. And
Thank you.
is there anything else you wanted to add for the listeners before we go?
Um, I don't think so. I think you covered everything.
Yeah, yeah. And then I always like to say, you probably already mentioned it before the word the statement or phrase that you live by. This too shall pass. But
Hmm.
would that also be something similar that you would put on a if you were to have a billboard? Would you put that on a billboard too
Oh yeah,
as a
for
message
sure.
to your audience and your
A
fans?
hundred
Yeah,
percent. That's the biggest thing in my life, honestly.
right on, right on. Oh yeah, and then what is your favorite? What's your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food. I like I like Southern food a lot. So like I love barbecue, but I also like seafood. So I would say anything between like cheeseburgers or like
Yeah.
lobster or something. Either one.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
And then for our audience, if they wish to find your music,
Hmm.
you can find you on YouTube, Spotify.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music,
Yeah,
all platforms, all just at my name, Kylie Trout. And then you can find my social medias and everything all at the Kylie Trout. And also at my website has links to everything. That's kylietrout.com.
gotcha. Right on. Well, really appreciate you joining us on today's episode, Kylie. And congrats again on your latest single. And really looking forward to hearing some of your upcoming additional singles and music as well.
Yeah.
Really awesome to have you on today. And let us know, in the future if you'd like to get back on for another episode.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, sounds good. Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Bye for now. I thank you all for listening to the Will to Win podcast of this special guest series. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave me a comment, like, and subscribe to my podcast to hear more episodes like these. And also, leave me a 5-star review. If you enjoyed this episode, you like the content, give me a 5-star review if you liked it. And then if you had some additional feedback for me, let me know that as well. I always appreciate honest feedback because I want to make sure that this show is the best, best podcast and best show for what I'm the message I'm trying to share with my audience about helping millennial professionals reach peak mental and physical performance. Take care.